Hi everyone, I'm Michael Uriarty, or Dr. Mike, and welcome to Technique Talk, the MYK System, and more. This is episode 35 in our series of comparing and contrasting other techniques with the MYK System. Today, we're going to talk about NUCCA, the National Upper Cervical Chiropractic Association technique. If you want more information on either technique, I have the website links in the description below. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to hit the subscribe button. I have a lot more videos coming. Whether you're a patient looking to get help or a practitioner looking for a good technique to learn, this series is what you need. Let's dive in. All right, so let's do a comparison, an overview and a comparison of the NUCCA, National Upper Cervical Chiropractic Association technique. So I'm just going to say NUCCA from now on, but NUCCA and the Myokinesthetic system, or MYK system. And so both are non-invasive techniques designed to improve health by addressing the nervous system, but they differ in their approach and focus. So NUCCA, who was founded by Ralph Gregory, and we're going to go into the history because I found a history, and I love when you can find out, why someone or how someone got into it and all that. And so we're going to get into that in just a second. So Ralph Gregory, he emphasizes precise spinal adjustments, particularly to the upper cervical area, to reduce interference and improve overall health. The myokinesthetic system, developed by Dr. Michael Uriarty, right here, focuses on treating the muscles on one nerve pathway to balance the nervous system and treat pain and increase range of motion and all that kind of stuff from its root cause. So these differences might make one treatment more suitable depending on the condition of a person or the practitioner that is actually using it. So let's talk about the founders. So I want to go into, I found on the NUCCA website, it's nucca.org, and I'm going to have to blow it up just a little bit. I still have 20/20 vision, but it always helps to be able to see it, like really, really clear. And so, but I got to get the whole thing. It goes across really wide, so I can't blow it up as big as I would like. Okay, so Dr. Ralph Gregory, and this is from the NUCCA website. So Dr. Ralph Gregory was a visionary and a gifted healer whose lifetime work was the relationship between the upper cervical spine, the upper cervical neck, and its profound influence on the central nervous system and the brain stem functions, which would be the cranial nerves and different things like that. So he developed a healing technique now known as NUCCA, that stands for the National Upper Cervical Chiropractic Association. The circumstances and events that led to the establishment of NUCCA are described as follows. In 1941, another doctor named John Grostick received an atlas adjustment from Dr. Gregory. Gregory is who started NUCCA, which forged the beginning of a close friendship and the evolution of NUCCA upper cervical procedure. Dr. Grostick suffered with Hodgkin's disease, and he had been unable to obtain a corrective atlas adjustment prior to his visit with Dr. Gregory, other than receiving an adjustment from B.J. Palmer in Davenport, Iowa. So while both doctors had practiced full spine adjusting, their primary interest was in the upper cervical spine. It was only natural, therefore, that they should collaborate, making every possible attempt to evolve a more biomechanically accurate system of upper cervical subluxation correction. To achieve this, the installation of precisely aligned X-ray equipment and patient placement became essential, permitting distortion-free X-rays to be taken and making X-ray analysis with rotational measurement acceptable. So Dr. Gregory had been influenced by Dr. Wernsing's The Atlas Specific, and was greatly impressed by Wernsing's comment, due to the shape of the superior articular facets of the atlas, the atlas moves laterally as if on the rim of a circle. From there, Dr. Grostic and Gregory added the axis superior articulations, and as a result, the condylar axial concept became the starting point for what was to become the Grostic technique. So Grostic, who got adjusted by Gregory, then formed the Grostic technique. So in early 1943, Grostic, who was not satisfied with existing methods of determining atlas laterality, developed the prototype of the instrument, which was to become the cephalometer. I think that's right. Cephalometer. Yeah. A skull divider for establishing the central skull line. So when joined to the atlas plane line, these two lines formed two angles, with atlas laterally being on the side of the acute angle. This system of establishing atlas laterality was checked for months by both Grostic and Gregory. It was found to be consistent and remains so today. Rapidly following this work were the concepts of the atlas-odontoid relationship, axis spinous position, the lower angle, the method for determining atlas rotation, the discontinuance of the recoil for the triceps pull adjustment, and the horizontal resultant. Woo! There's a lot just in that sentence. There's probably a lot of different things that I could go through and do some research on. So I kind of like the discontinuance of the recoil of the triceps pull adjustment. I'm like, well, what is that? So now I got to go research that and see what that is. So analytical instruments were perfected, adjusting tables modified, and adjustment coordinators developed. Now, Grostic, poor guy, died in 1964. So just like a year. Oh, no, this was 1943. Sorry, I thought it was 63. So 20 years later. So Grostic died in 64. Gregory, I guess they were teaching seminars together, and he didn't want to keep doing that. So he just concentrated on advancing the basic work. And in 1966, so 2 years after Grostic passed away, he was contacted by Dr. McClellan out in Arizona, who said, hey, come on out and do some seminars out in this area because all of these people were really close with Dr. Grostic. And so Gregory finally said, all right, I'm going to go out and have a seminar in 66 at the Howard Johnson's Motel in Monroe, Michigan. That is not even in Arizona. How did that happen? But anyway, so he didn't go to Arizona. He goes, hey, that sounds great. You're calling me from Arizona, and we're going to go have a great seminar, and I'm going to Michigan. So I don't know how that happened. But I do know that probably back in 1966, if you went to a Howard Johnson's Motel, it was probably pretty good. If you are staying at a Howard Johnson's Motel today, you're not going to be staying in a very good place. I'm going to tell you that. That's been my experience. I stayed in one. I think the last one I stayed in was around 2010, 2011. It was not good. I was up all night. There were people, like one guy I think tried to break into the room. Somebody did break into the room below me. You could hear the window crash. Not a fun experience. And I left there the very next morning and did not want to go back ever again to a Howard Johnson's Motel. Not to disparage Howard Johnson's Motel. I'm sure they're like really good if they're still around in business. I don't even know. But I'm sure there's some good ones. But the last one I was in, not so great. All right. So anyway, Dr. Gregory consulted with an attorney in Detroit. Maybe that's why he went there. Because he knew this attorney dude. And he said, hey, I want to form the National Upper Cervical Chiropractic Association. And that's what he did in April of 1966. So then it goes through some of the presidents that were there. And it says, an ever-increasing clinical observation arose. Hypotheses were formulated that required testing. Research expanded. Re-examination of the original basic work had to be facilitated. And newer methods of subluxation analysis and correction developed. to accomplish this task, the NUCCA board was advised that a research organization needed to be established because NUCCA was a fraternal organization and could not conduct research. So the National Upper Cervical Chiropractic Research Association, NUCCA, was incorporated for research purposes only. It was decided that NUCCA should publish a more scientifically oriented paper, and the name NUCCA News was changed to the monograph, meaning learned treatise, treatise, treatise on a particular subject. And so I looked up treatise. Hold on. I think I found it. Define, treati, treatise. And it's a written work dealing formally and systematically with a subject. Well, I mean, that's what they were doing. They were like trying to get something published. And so, anyway, yeah, I don't know why they have to use that word. Come on, just use like research or something. Anyway, so since then, the accomplishments of NUCCA and NUCCA have been numerous and include, and they go through, there's a list. And so the development of the double pivot point system in X-ray analysis, the development of the tricep pull adjustment, which I want to look up. I may have to do something on that, because a talk on that, because I want to find out what that is. The design of improved film analytical instruments, the development of biomechanical concepts in film analysis and adjusting, the design and development of the anatometer by Dr. Gregory and Peter Benesch, an instrument which measures bodily distortions before and after the C1 adjustment, providing proof of the effects of the C1 subluxation. Oh, that's kind of cool. I would like to look that up, the anatometer. So that's another one. I got to look that up. So anyway, and it goes through. There's a number of different things. I don't want to bore you. I probably have already done that. But that's the history. So there's the history of how NUCCA kind of came about. And I'm always interested in that kind of stuff. I think that's the meat and potatoes. If you can find out why, somebody made something, then I think it makes it a lot more interesting. And so just a brief history on how we kind of came about with the myokinesthetic system. I was working with 5 massage therapists. That's how I started my office, with 5 massage therapists. And I saw the benefit of soft tissue work. And one of my therapists came to me and said, hey, you're lucky because you bill for the treatment that you do. We bill for the minutes that we spend. And so your income is unlimited, and our income always has a lid on it because there's only so many minutes in a day. And I was like, well, I see the benefit of what you're doing. And so my original idea was I was going to bring the chiropractors and the massage therapy professions together. And because at the time in Kansas City, only about 10% of the chiropractors worked with massage therapists. And so I was like, this will be a great thing. The chiropractor can adjust C5, and then we'll work only the muscles innervated by C5. And it'll be a great, treatment for the patient. It'll be more specific, complete treatment for that patient, and we can get things done. And so I didn't want to go off one source, and so I grabbed all the anatomy books I could find. It took about a year just to put the basic information together. And during that time frame, I went to the therapist and said, look, if I'm going to do this as well, I don't want my patients getting undressed. Some of the things that we had people say is, I don't have an hour to come see you. I don't want oils and creams put on me, and then I got to go back into the office and things like that. And so I was like, we got to combat those. So I want to be able to work on the soft tissue, but I don't want to use oils and creams. I don't want them, I don't necessarily want it to have to be skin on skin contact. And I'm going to make sure that all the treatments we get done in 15 minutes or less. So depending on the nerve level that we're going to treat, depends on how much time we're going to spend with the person. And so we put all the information together, and we were using it in combination. I was doing the adjustment, and then the therapist was doing the treatment. And we did that, and it only took a couple of weeks. And the patients came back, and they go, this is awesome. We love this. But we really think it's this new soft tissue thing you're doing that's helping us. And so we really don't want Dr. Mike to adjust us anymore. And I was so thoroughly offended. But I said, you know what? I think I can still treat your nervous system in a specific way by just doing this. So let's try it. And I just kept doing just this. And I noticed that my patients got better faster and it lasted longer. And I kept doing it more and more and more and more. And then finally, a number of years went by and I said, you know what? I think I'm just going to completely switch over to this technique. And then that's what I did. And so then we started teaching it, and then it just kind of evolved and went from there. This is probably 96 time frame when we put it together and started using it in the office. And 97, 98 is when we started teaching it and stuff. That's when I really switched my practice over and things like that. So that's kind of how all of that went around. So we're coming up on almost 30 years of doing this as well. Okay, so let's get into professions. That's kind of how the myokinesthetic came about. So the professions that are taught. So NUCCA, I think just in the name, the National Upper Cervical Chiropractic Association, they pretty much teach chiropractors. That's what they do. So myokinesthetic, and just in that name, no, you can't figure it out from that name. So just with myokinesthetic, we teach. So I'm an adjunct instructor with the University of Idaho. So I teach the athletic trainers, all the master's and doctorate students up at the University of Idaho. So I teach there. So athletic training. Massage therapy, of course, that's where I started. I just taught massage therapists for the first number of years, and because that's what I was teaching in the office, and then expanded from there. So massage therapist, and then I got into the physical therapy profession, physical therapy assistants, the occupational therapy profession for OTs and OTAs, and chiropractors as well. So those are the 5 main professions that we train. But there's others. We've trained nurses. We've trained, different professions, acupuncturists and different things like that. So what are the costs of the classes? So one of the things that I saw in here, and I don't know how accurate it is, but you can learn NUCCA at school. And I think they have clubs and different things, different ways that you can get in and take the classes and things like that for level 1. They have level 1, and you can do that free. And it says that if you get in and take level 1 within 1 year of graduation, you can learn that for free still. So that's what it says. I don't know how accurate that is, so don't quote me on that. But then it says level 2 is about $550, and then level 3 is about $1,200. And then there's exam fees and different things like that. So with the myokinesthetic system, we have an online on-demand course, which is basically me teaching the class just straight into a computer screen, and it's like I'm teaching you one-on-one. Same class as the hands-on class or the live webinar class. It's all the same material, and I even try to keep my jokes in there and my stories in there and all that kind of stuff. But the on-demand course is $4.99. The live webinar course is $5.99. The in-person class is $6.99. And there's, you get different materials and different things from that standpoint as far as how they're delivered. You get an actual manual and a flip chart in the hands-on course. Plus, I'm traveling to, where you're at. So that's why it's a little bit more. And then, the live webinar, you get a PDF version of it. The same thing with the on-demand course and things like that. So that's kind of the classes that we have. The CEUs. So with the myokinesthetic system, we get, for the most part, it's 20 CEUs. Some of the state, it depends on the state and the profession, but there's a couple states that, I've gotten like 18 and a half CEUs just on how they calculate the hours. So it can be 18 and a half. I've gotten all the way up to 23.2. So I have a couple states that give me 23.2 hours of CEUs. Most of the states are right around 20. Some give me 19 and a half, some 19, some 18 and a half. So it just depends on how they kind of calculate from that standpoint. I couldn't find an exact number of CEUs that NUCCA gave. So with the myokinesthetic system, we have 3 classes right now. There are more coming because I'm in this neurology thing. But so upper is 20 hours, lower is 20 hours, and then the autonomic nervous system is 40 hours. And of course, depending on the state, could be 38, could be, I think 40 is the most though for that last class. Okay, so research. So a lot of research has been done on NUCCA. A lot of it, I think I found a thing that said over half of it was from the, what'd they call it? The Upper Cervical Research Foundation, or the NUCCA. The NUCCA. So those are just associations affiliated with NUCCA. And so, I don't know the quality of those, and I'm not saying they're bad or anything. I just don't know. And then other ones were in other things. So right now, we have, with the myokinesthetic system, we just got our 7th. I'm so excited. We got our 7th peer-reviewed published article. And so all of mine are up on my website. So you can go to the website. Up at the top, it says published articles. And then also down at the bottom, there's case studies, and that's things that some of the kids did at Idaho. They didn't send it off to get published, but they had to write it up and stuff, and so we got some of those as well. So I put those as case studies down at the bottom. So we both NUCCA and MYK both have published articles on what we do, so that's good. So that establishes both of us. I think that makes pretty good. So if we go into some similarities and differences in the techniques. So I'm just reading through here real quick. So NUCCA focuses on reducing interference to the nervous system through precise, gentle spinal adjustments, particularly targeting the atlas subluxation complex. And it uses x-rays and mathematical analysis to establish misalignment patterns, reducing the need for repeated corrections by correlating posture with alignment. Well, I like that because I correlate posture back to the nervous system as well. So with the myokinesthetic system, we if you want to use the word manipulate, I don't know if that's the right word, but manipulate specific muscles to balance the nervous system. And it's all done on certain nerve pathways. So let's just say we're doing an upper cervical. Let's say we're doing a C1, a C2, or a C3 treatment. Those treatments from a myokinesthetic standpoint are about 3 minutes. They're not very long at all. But if you drop down and let's say you're doing like treatment for plantar fasciitis, that's a solid 15-minute treatment. So depending on the nerve level you're treating, depends on the number of muscles. Also depending, does the person, lower body, a lot of times the person, if they can, we're going to put them on their stomach, their side, and their back on a table. So they're going to be rolling around. That takes a little bit of extra time. Most of the upper body treatments are done in a seated position, so you can just kind of move around a little bit quicker. So the upper body treatments tend to be a little bit quicker. So we've already gone through the founders, and I'm not saying that Dr. Gregory is old, but he developed NUCCA when I was born, so he's a little bit old. So he developed it in '66, and so I was born in '66. But anyway, so I don't even know if he's still around. I gotta think he's probably not. Well, no, he could still be, because that means he could have been born in, early 40s. Yeah, he's still around. He could still be around. All right. Reasons for the development, we kind of went through that. Cost of the classes, we've gone through that. So it says with NUCCA, they do have online options for, it says not specified. Sorry. Maybe they don't for that. Maybe they don't have online options. Conditions treated. Here we go. Conditions treated. So NUCCA helps with conditions by improving spinal alignment and nervous system function, including asthma. Myokinesthetic treats for asthma. We get really, really good results with that as well. Allergies, we've helped. We don't specifically treat allergies, but we've had people come back and say my allergies aren't as bad as they used to be. Migraines, we treat not just migraines, but all types of headaches. I personally don't care how you term the headache. We typically get very, very good results with headaches. Migraine was the first person that I ever used this on, was a migraine person. Carpal tunnel syndrome. These are all NUCCA things, and I'm just saying, I'm throwing myokinesthetic in there because we treat these as well. So carpal tunnel, fatigue. We haven't really gone after fatigue as much, I would say. Dizziness, we get some pretty good results with dizziness. And then structural health issues. Absolutely, because that's what the myokinesthetic system is about, is balancing the posture. So it says the myokinesthetic, we address a broader range of things. So headaches, migraines, tension headaches, cluster headaches, hormonal headaches, carpal tunnel syndrome, rotator cuff issues, frozen shoulder. We get very good results with that. Tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, a lot of other sports injury things. People losing their grip. Plantar fasciitis, sciatica, shin splints, knee issues, low back problems, peripheral neuropathy, incontinence, acid reflux. So there's so many things that we could go into. I don't go into all of them, but post-stroke, traumatic brain injury, and getting results and getting movement and getting different things back. We've had some phenomenal results with some of this stuff. So additional relevant information. So NUCCA is taught at 5 chiropractic colleges, including Palmer School of Chiropractic, with a strong research foundation via the Upper Cervical Research Foundation. Period. Okay. It aims for lasting spinal stability, reducing the need for frequent adjustments. The myokinesthetic system claims immediate results. We get some pretty darn fast results a lot of the time, not always, but a lot of the times, with treatments under 15 minutes, and is noted for use by sports teams and the effectiveness for athletes and just the layperson as well. So both techniques are non-invasive, but myokinesthetic's broader professional training and sports focus might appeal to different practitioners and patients. So on a conclusion, NUCCA's focus on precise spinal adjustments for chiropractors with a research-backed approach. Now, a lot of that research, over half of it, comes from their little research group, versus myokinesthetics, muscle-based, because we don't do adjustments. So with myokinesthetic, we're not moving bones from an adjustment standpoint. So we're muscle-based, we're soft tissue-based from that standpoint. And I would say we've helped a lot of sports things, but we help with pretty much pain and range of motion is huge. And so many other things go with that. But then like I said, you get into some of these other conditions, some of the organ issues, which is the third class that we do with incontinence and acid reflux and different things like that. So, patients and practitioners should consider specific conditions and professional needs when choosing, with both offering valuable non-invasive options for pain relief and health improvement. All right, so there is a comparison of NUCCA and the MYK system. Wow, that was pretty good. I'm going to say this. If you made it this far, smile.